allow one opportunity to speak. Ask everyone to please come forward that has any questions or comments. And when you come to the podium, please state your name and address for the record.
Testing.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Margaret Campbell Pruitt. I'm with the village of Sauk Drinking Meadows, and I'm speaking on behalf of our association, or soon to be association. It was brought to our attention last week in a very untimely manner that in order for our group to use the community center in the future, we would have to pay $50 to use that space, and $100 as a deposit. We've been utilizing that space for the last 6 years for no charge. It is a community center. We are a community group, and we only exist for the betterment of the Lincoln Meadows complex. We meet, we look at how we're going to assist Public Works with maintaining our front when they're not able to. We pull our monies together to do that. We do not have a bank. We are, I believe, some of the highest taxpayers in this village, and not to be able to use the community center, I think is truly, it will create a hardship, as we had to cancel our meeting last week because we did not have a place to meet. And I know that it's included in your ordinance according to Trustee Hoskins. So I'm going to invite and I'm going to ask you very diligently to go back to that ordinance and revise it if that language is in there, considering we are residents of this village. We have no children in this village, but our taxes go to pay for the community center, this building, and every place else. If we cannot use that space, then I am respectfully asking that you decide on another location where we can meet. We don't mind meeting in here. We don't mind meeting in the senior center. We meet that requirement because all of us are over 50 years of age, but we have to have some place to meet, and it's really, really ironic that the last time I came before this board, I was talking about a meeting space, and now here I am again talking about a meeting space, and I just appeal to you to realize that this village is for us, for taxpayers, and again, finally, please do what you can so that we can have a meeting space. Thank you. All right.
Hi, my name is Debbie Robinson, and I'm a resident of Sauk Village of Lincoln Meadows. And I want to piggyback on everything that Margaret said about us having to pay for meeting space. Like she said, the taxes are so high, there's no reason that we should have to pay. Also, why is it that we have to pay? Who came up with that? And then also I understand that one of the other communities uses it and doesn't have to pay a fee. So how do you justify one community or subdivision paying and the other doesn't? That's what we need to know and what we want to find out.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
I also want to piggyback on what Mara said, and we're in agreement with you guys. They also denied us use of the community center, community center too. But my next question is that on July 13th, we paid Baxter and Woodman $105 to do a tip review. I want to know why are we still paying Baxter and Woodman? I thought they were, on and gone with. And also, I want to know Baxter, Kane, McKinney, and Olson, they're being paid out of the tip fund. I want to know, should they be paid out of tip 3? And also, I'd like to make a comment. Those are questions I'd like to answer. And also, I'd like to make a comment is, please explain the grandfather clause that's used in the senior center and when was it approved and who approved it. And also, I'd like a copy of it. And my last comment is that residents come to this village to ask questions and they get no answers. They call you a number, no answer. Emails, no answer. You dismiss residents when they seem to want clarity for a question asked. Also, after the town hall visits, residents are lined up just to get an answer. It's impossible to get an answer. 4 requests are returned as incomplete. They contain erroneous information, and they're just unduly delayed. However, you do provide little snippets of information on board days when residents are not able to ask questions. Also, in addition, I want to know why the department heads are never here to answer any questions. They might have an answer to us. Why aren't they here when we ask questions? And then I also want to know, why is this government being ran like a dictatorship instead of having the residents as part of the democratic process? We pay taxes. I live in Deerfield, we pay some food taxes over there. I want to know why we can't use the community center and the senior center building. We have asked for grandfather clauses, before requests, and nobody ever sees. They give you all this kind of information that really doesn't mean anything. So if somebody's asking, just answer me what's going on here, and to keep this abreast, I was asking questions like this way before you guys got back into office. I'm finished.
Three minutes ago. So the Bachelor women are the engineers for the TIFs. They always have been. So that's why they get paid out of the TIF fund. Grandfather clause, I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. I have to look into that. FOIAs, we have people that answer the FOIAs. They answer them according to the way they're supposed to. They may not be answered the way you want them. They may not receive the answers that you want. They are truthfully, and the information is provided like we're supposed to provide. So, department heads are not here on committee meeting nights. They are here on regular board meeting nights. And as for the community center, no one has been told or kicked out of the community center. I'll make that very clear. The community center has a policy. I don't think it's by ordinance. I think it's by policy. The rental fees. So anyone is allowed to use it as long as they pay the rental fees. And that policy has been in place for quite a few years before even some of these individuals took it over. So some of these trustees. So the community center has never not been open for village residents to use. There's just a policy in place. Perhaps you may not want to pay those fees, but those fees were put in place long before people sitting on this board were sitting there. So we'll move to next. Your time is up. We'll move to next.
I know my time is up, but you didn't finish answering the question. I haven't said anything but 3 minutes.
Mr. Griffin, we'll be here next.
You don't answer questions, just
If I don't answer questions because I don't have the answer, I'm not going to say
well,
something.
why
I
don't
don't
you
know
just
the
say, I
answer
don't
to.
have an answer? I don't know. Simple.
Ms. Houston, I ask you, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Nathan Griffin. I live at 22317 Brookwood. My question is directed to you, Mayor. I have a problem to a certain extent of calling you over and over and over, and you never return the call. Now I can understand you have the time I did talk to you, you told me you had a full-time job. I can understand that. And this is a full-time job here, although you don't work full-time. I can understand that. But I can't see why you can't find time some way to return the call. It doesn't take that much to say it because you don't know what I'm going to ask you, and I don't know what you're going to tell me. But I think we should have a conversation. Now, can you kindly tell me why?
Is that your last question? Do you have any other questions?
No, that's, yeah, I'm finished.
Okay. If someone leaves me a message and gives me a message on what they need, I do my best to make sure I answer those messages. I'm going to be honest with you, it is a full-time job. It's a full-time job here. I'm doing stuff for the village almost every single night. I have to be honest with you, I used to make my cell phone calls and return cell phone calls on my drives home. Since then, I've taken the pledge, and I've tried to keep my cell phone off to the side on my seat. I don't do calls anymore while I'm driving. I don't do texts anymore while I'm driving. And I don't answer emails anymore while I'm driving. My drive to work, depending on traffic, is 2 to 3 hours one way every single day. I drive every morning. I drive every night coming home. During that 4 to 6 hours, I used to be able to get a lot of work done. I'll be honest with you. I don't do it anymore, only because I did take the pledge. So. I mean, it has to be a real emergency for me to pick up that cell phone anymore. And usually when I say it's emergency, it's got to be a family emergency. Even my family knows not to call me while I'm driving. So, you know, my full-time job, I get up every morning around 4:30. I'm on the road. I go to work. I come home. I usually don't even go straight home. I come straight to the village hall. When I come straight to the village hall, I'm doing village business, or I'm attending meetings. South Florida mayors and managers. I'm attending meetings throughout the whole entire South Suburbs, representing the village of South Village. So for me to call people back, it probably wouldn't be till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And again, I wouldn't want people calling me at 10, 11 o'clock at night. You've been to my house. I have not been home. I know when I get home at night, there's a message from my kids because my kids are in bed, or my wife tells me that someone stopped by the house. Okay?
But can I ask you?
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Because this is another rebuttal. This is my answer back to you. This is where it's going to stop. Okay? Whenever I've talked to you and you've left a message last week, you came up and asked me a question. I knew exactly what you wanted, and I answered your question. Hang on.
In other words, I can't return the answer back to you. You can tell me, but I can't ask you nothing.
There's no rebuttal, Mr. Griffin. You have your 3 minutes, and I'm going to respond. Okay? I do my best to make sure I answer questions. If someone leaves me a message, a detailed message on what they're looking for, either I pass it off, if it's something not for me, I pass it off to the department head, or if it's a personal question or something I can answer, I answer it. So if you have a question, I'm here tonight. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here every single Tuesday night, and I'm usually around the village on Mondays and Fridays. I try to be, but lately my...
Well, you just not saying it. You're saying it right now, that you're here.
I'm here, okay? So, all right, next.
You know, when you took
There's
office,
no
when you took office,
There's no rebuttal.
you stated right up there, here's my number. You said it right at the desk. You say, here's my number. Feel free to call me. That's what you said.
Sir, I did.
Do you remember that?
Sir,
Okay.
the 3 minutes is up.
That's all I'm going to say. Do you remember?
And I'll make it very clear. Mr. Griffin has my phone number. All I have to do is leave me a message. So, next.
Good evening, my name is Edna Johnson. I live at 22901 Eastbrook Drive in Lincoln Meadows, and I'm here representing the Lincoln Meadows Community Club. It is our understanding that as we move forward, that originally I had meetings scheduled every Thursday, the last Thursday of each month, beginning, I believe, was in May through the end of September. I was recently informed in August that we could no longer use the community center for our monthly meetings. So therefore, and based on us having to pay a monthly fee of, I believe it was $50 or whatever the fee is for the rental of the community center. So my question that I'm posing to you and the committee is, if we are not allowed to use the community center, what other public facility is available where we can use to have our monthly meetings? And just so you are aware, the meetings are used to address issues and concerns that we have within the Lincoln Meadows community. They're not used, and I understand imposing a fee if it's necessary, if you're using it for a private event like a birthday party or retirement party or something to that nature. But the meetings are used and the facilities are used specifically to address issues and concerns that we have within Lincoln Meadows. We're trying to avoid from having our meetings at someone's home because our homes are not large enough to hold the number of people that are attending our meetings. So my question to you is, what other option can we have or facilities that we can use within Lincoln, within the Sauk Village community, where we wouldn't have to pay a fee outside of the police department or the fire department? Sorry.
Is that your question?
Yes.
Right. You know, I'll pass this back over to the Parks and Recs Committee. They can look at their policies and review them. But what they're doing is they're enforcing their policies, things that have not been enforced. I'm going to make it very clear, and I talked to Parks and Recs. No one is not allowed to use the community center, and I've heard that quite a few times tonight. The community center is available. There's just a fee structure that has to be followed, and that's according to policy. So we'll pass it back over to Parks and Recs. They can review it with their committee. And again, whatever they do, they have to be consistent with all groups. And I'm sure there is other groups that will say that they're part of the community also, and they want to use it also, but they want to use it for political gain also. So I think what we have to look at, and again, I'm not going to be involved in it, I'm going to be honest with you. It's Parks and Recs, it's their committee, and it's their policy. So we'll pass it back over to Parks and Recs, and they can review it with their committee.
Okay, thank you. And I don't know if my 3 minutes are up or not, but I would really recommend if you would reconsider how the facilities are structured in the event that perhaps if it's used for an event such as what we're asking to use the
Ms.
facilities.
Johnson, I'm not stopping right here because when I ask you if you have any other questions, what we do is people are allowed to speak one time. If you want to take your 3 minutes or longer, you can do that, but there's no rebuttal back and forth. We take the questions and comments, we respond if we can.
Thank you.
If not, okay?
Thank you, Rose Langston. I'm a little appalled that so many groups are utilizing the community center without charge. As long as I've been in the village, whatever facilities the village uses, they do pay a rental fee. The only thing was the senior center a couple years ago started their policy on rental too, strictly for Sauk Village seniors. I do want to mention that October 17th is the deadline to purchase Bloom Township luncheon tickets. And also the October 26th is the senior spaghetti dinner. And the tickets are available, $5 in advance, $6 at the door, available from committee members and also Village Hall. Thank you.
I'm sorry. What we're going to do is I'm going to have Trustee Burgess talk with the Parks and Recs also because he ran Parks and Recs for quite a few years. So some of those policies fell under Trustee Burgess. So we'll have Trustee Burgess get with Parks and Recs also. All right? So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, my name is Willie Miller. I'm a resident of Lincoln Middle as well. And I just have 2 comments. It was brought to my attention that typically they hold their meetings here and they don't pay anything. That was just brought to my attention. And my other concern is that as you enter Lincoln Meadows, the home is west as you enter, which is my home, sorry. When it rains, the bill is back there. My house, the house north of that, and our house, mud comes from the field. And it floods our backyard, it floods our front yard, and it floods the street. So the entire yard is all brown, and the streets are brown. Now, there was a sewer put back behind my house, but it's sitting so high that no water can now get in. To resolve that, all you need to do is just lower the sewer. And we can put another sewer back here, the sewer behind Howard's house, alleviate some of the water that's coming from. I've been a resident since 1986 in Sauk Village, and I take pride in my community. I work hard, and as like you, I travel 2.5 hours to work, and I'm a pastor as well. So handle basement flooding too. You might put in 2 pumps just to control the water. So we know we don't have enough sewage drainage in the subdivision. So we know that is totally unacceptable. Not just we pay taxes. Something should be done about it.
Real quick, what direction do you see, north? When you first be
When you come to the entrance of Lincoln Meadows,
Okay,
yes, the homes that's on the west side.
west side, thank you. All right, I will pass this over to Public Works Department. They're going to come out and review those drains and stuff they put in behind the houses and see if maybe the ground is deteriorated, but I'll have them take a look at it.
I just wanted to get back to the gentleman about as far as Deer Creek. Having meetings, we have homeowner association meetings. We've been doing that for around 9 to 10 years now. We have them here at the Village Hall. That's why I wanted to get, I don't know how long our executive session is going to last, but if you guys can wait around, I would really appreciate it. We can all talk along with the Parks and Recs representatives, and we can probably get this straightened out tonight. I would like to get it straightened out tonight before we go any further, because as stated, it'll be another 2 weeks before we can really do things. So we can kind of go over this tonight. You have the people here, you have the 2 trustees that are in charge of Parks and Recs. We can go over that. And there are defined things that you can and cannot have a meeting for. So they are defined. If the heading is correct, and they fall on certain headings. We have, like I said, a homeowner association. But if there's other things that happen or whatever, because I stated before, you cannot utilize village property for political aspects and things like that. You can't, or fundraisers or things like that. You can't do that because that the village cannot do that. So if it falls on a certain heading, then we can discuss that. And if at all possible, I don't know how long executive session is going to be. It's going to be a while. But then, I don't know, can we talk about it before the executive session, maybe 10 minutes or something? We can, because I'd like to resolve this before, because you guys came out for that, we'd like to get this resolved as soon as possible.
Right, I think it's number 2. Even though you're going to talk to the chairs, they still go back to the committee.
Okay, no, just so they could kind of get an idea of what the definition is and what they can and can't do, and they need to know that. They need to know what the building can be utilized for and what it cannot be utilized for. So maybe right after this meeting, before we go into executive, you give me 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you.
Next.
Judy Gaster. At the last board meeting, Mr. Mohan stated that the information on the audit would be in next week. Well, today's the week, and Mr. Mohan isn't here, so I'm going to say that I probably am right in saying it gets shoved under the carpet again. We have members on our board that have been here for quite some time, and we have new members. We have enough members on the board that know our ordinances and have been instrumental in organizing them and bringing them to be put on the books. We've heard all the excuses. We've even paid attorneys to get on the ball and get these audits done or find out the reason why. And here we are, over 4 years later, I'm still asking the same questions. Where's our audits? When are they going to be here? If there's a problem, why can't we know that? We know about the previous regime. That's in the past. We're not moving forward on our audits, and I want to know why. I don't think the carpet should be used to hide them under. Secondly, since we have money for the rent group and the lobbyists, again, we have ordinances that are not being followed by our board. According to our ordinance, our water department is to be headed by our village clerk. We are never supposed to lay off anybody from the water department, but if we got all this money to spend, why can't we bring back the people from that are laid off from the Public Works. We need them. Water mains are breaking. We're paying them overtime, the ones that are there, when we could be utilizing the ones that are off. According to the ordinance, they aren't supposed to be laid off. And again, we get to ask these questions when the lawyer's not here, so we don't get any answers. And I really have no faith in the legal system that we're using at this point. We paid them a lot of money, and we're still sitting here with blindfolds on. And I'm getting mighty tired of it. Who do we go to that can help us in forcing the audit to get done? All of them.
All right, let's look at a couple of things where the audit, 2009, 2010 is completed. We're currently working on 2010, 2011. I met with the auditors on a conference call last Friday. We were in email, or they sent me an email, which I'll be passing out to the board and trustees as of yesterday. And the plan for the final report of 2011 audit will be before October 31st. There's going to be some things that will be out of it. They are looking for a final report again by the 31st to Mohan. Mohan needs to provide some additional information. And they are looking for by October 15th to start the 2012 audit, or at least the week of October 15th to start the 2012 audit. So the attorneys have nothing to do with the audits. You're hearing there's some miscommunication out there. We have auditors, they're not the attorneys. So I just want to make sure I clear that up because you talked about the attorneys. So I mean, we're following up on this. Again, they are looking for information to be able to finish these audits. They are very detailed audits. They're going back and finding out where money was spent, how it was spent. So, you know, we'll provide, as they ask for information, we provide them the information so they can finish. So that's where we're at on the audits, and hopefully, you know, the fingers crossed, by the end of the month, we should have 2011, and we're at 2011, 2012. So I'll get that email. I'll give it to the village clerk, and she can make copies for the trustees. That was as of yesterday. You talk about the water department. Water department employees get paid through water fund. We're talking about, you mentioned REM, you mentioned the lobbyists that are brought in, they get paid through the general fund. So, again, two different funds where people get paid from. So, I'm trying to check that up. All right, next.
I've got two or maybe three questions. First question is, considering the fire hydrants, is it certain fire hydrants? I understand you got about 10 of them in storage and nothing is being done. You got 10 new fire hydrants. I look on this paper, it says $17,880 was paid to fix the nuts and spin remaining on the 4 hydrants. We still got about 70, 80 hydrants still out. Now, what's going to happen if there's fire hydrants out? How many trucks you going to use to put out the fire? That's one question. Next question concerns the Parks and Rec. I would like to know what is your decision on Cortez Stewart running the community center? Because there's kids back there looking for the community center to be open, and he's nowhere around. Nobody's there to open it up. Matter of fact, there was some kids just left there now, you know, they wanted to play basketball, but the community center is closed. But he got the signs up saying it's open from 5 to 7:30. And then he got another time from 7 to 10, but nobody's there. I mean, what the kids gonna do?
All right. closed today, and it's because of the health and wellness fair we had last Saturday. Everything's still out on the court. We need to find out why everything's not moved away. So I met with Cortez tonight. In fact, he came over while I was in my office and informed me that all the tables, the blue tarp, everything was still over the floor. So they're not able to put asphalt in tonight. We're going to try to make sure it will be done by tomorrow. So, all right, so we'll do our best to get Public Works out there to get that all cleaned up. But that was from the health and wellness fair. The second thing is we won't talk about hiring individuals because they're resumes and things like that, so individuals. So I don't think one thing we talk about when you're in the hiring process is talk about an individual who might apply for the job, so we're not going to talk about that. Fire hydrants, you gave a $17,000 amount. We know that the fire hydrants, to replace all the fire hydrants that need to be replaced was $17,000. I think I have it on here in 1 second. About 18K, so just under 18,000 it's going to take to replace all the fire hydrants. What the Public Works Department is doing is they're replacing fire hydrants whenever they have a chance. They're going around the village. They're also taking fire hydrants that may have parts that need to be replaced, and they're also replacing those parts. So they are going out and they are fixing fire hydrants that just need parts, and they are replacing fire hydrants if they can. So they're taking a little bit at a time. And that's what's happening with fire hydrants. So, all right. I see no one else up there right now. So with item number 3, any motion to recess to executive session? Is there a motion? Second. All in favor, say aye.